No, let's come on. Let's just get him. Let's just get him. One dead. Another one dead. Shedder down. Shedder's down. We're gonna just bait out his repose. Yeah, that's fine. Let's get that out. Oh, let's get this. Been deleted, brother. Holy shit. I don't know if they are. Please don't hit my guy yet. Thank you. Alright. Catch him. Grab. Alright, it's fine. We'll be in here with the lights while we fuck. Get some kills, boys. Let's get some fucking bodies. Let's get some fucking bodies, man. Go ahead for him. Alright. Catch him here. Go. Spear kid. Boom. Good fucking work. Fuck, my blunderbuss kid just came over there and fucking deleted him. Blunderbuss kid just came and fucking deleted him. That's just unlucky. What's poppin', people? It is your boy Zaycer coming to you guys with another here today. We're gonna be making another Bruiser build video. I just made a Bruiser build video 2 weeks ago, but everybody was saying that the music was too loud, that people couldn't hear the information that was being said because the music was too loud. I'm gonna make sure to turn the music down significantly in this video. I'm still gonna be there, but I'm gonna try to turn it down a lot so that it's not a problem. So hopefully it's not a problem. Let me know down in the comment section below if it is still too loud, or if you guys can hear the information perfectly, which is ideal. Also, since these past 2 weeks, I have upgraded my gear relatively significantly, and my gear is very different now than what it was in the previous build video, which was only 2 weeks ago. Now my gear currently is in a state where it is, in my opinion, the step directly below BIS, right? Like before we start getting into BIS pieces is what I mean. Like, I'm not saying we have BIS pieces already. I'm saying that, like, we are, like, in my opinion, for my setup, we are as good as we could get before having any BIS pieces at all. Okay, and we're going to be going ahead and going over all that. We're going to talk about what I would look for upgrades, etc., etc. Okay, we're going to get into all of that shit together. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin with our attributes first, actually. Okay, so for starters, you want to make sure you have at least minimum 300 strength and 200 con. Now, when you obviously upgrade your armor, you'll be able to have 2 or 10 extra attribute points. Some people do 210 con for the extra. I think it's like 300 health or something like that, and then 300 flat strength, or you can do 310 strength for a little bit extra damage and 200 flat con. Does not make a difference as long as you have 200 con for the increase of the 10% increase of resistances, and the 300 strength for the grit. It doesn't make a difference. You pick and choose which one you prefer. I feel like most bruisers prefer to have 210 con and 300 flat strength. I feel like that's like the normal. I personally do 310 strength and 200 flat con. It does not make a difference, just literally for the extra bit of damage. And for anybody that's wondering why my stats aren't that, it's because I don't have my attribute food popped. I don't have my carrot cake popped right now, so if I were to pop a carrot cake, I would be at 310 strength and 200 con. Okay, so we have that sorted out. Let's go over weapon pages. This is my Warhammer page. Feel free to screenshot it, copy it, whatever. Now, most bruisers run Aftershock. Aftershock is a 20% slow for 4 seconds. I personally like running Contemption, and the reason why is because I use my hammer a lot to finish off kills in war. You know, like people that are low, I can see them running away. I'm able to kill them with my hammer. It helps me finish off kills. So that's why I run Contemption, but most bruisers get rid of Contemption and then run Aftershock. Obviously, Aftershock can help you secure kills as well. So it's completely up to you, but I do feel like Aftershock is probably overall more favored by most bruisers, and it's probably better in most cases. But personally, seeing how much I use my hammer and how much I like to be able to finish off kills with it, I use Contemption. It's completely up to you, but this is how I have my hammer set up most of the time. But I do also run Aftershock from time to time as well, so it's kind of like, pick and choose, you know what I mean? Now with the Great Axe, this is how I currently have it set up. Now I will say, most times I run Bloodlust. I think Bloodlust as an ultimate is way better than Mullet's Fury for my own personal playstyle. Reason being is because I like consistency. I like numbers. I like flat numbers. I like to be able to swap to my Great Axe and know exactly what numbers I'm going to get, know exactly how much damage I'm going to get. I want to know, you know what I'm saying? Like I just can feel it out, right? And Bloodlust has a much, it has a higher floor but a lower ceiling, right? So Mullet's Fury's potential is much higher than Bloodlust. but Bloodlust, when you first take out the weapon, is dealing 50% more damage than Maul's Fury, right? So, but Maul's Fury does stack up very quickly as well, to be fair. But I just don't like really having to stack up my ability or my damage. But the reason why I'm running Maul's Fury right now is because of these two perks right here, and this is literally it, okay? And I feel like in a war, having that extra fortify on top of our gear, which we'll talk about in a second, can just help you survive more in clumps. And everybody that has been in wars knows that winning clump fights ultimately win wars, and these just help you survive those clump fights. These help you win these clump fights, so that's why I really like them. Now I wish I could run these two and Bloodlust at the same time. That would be perfect for me, but there's not really much you can lose on the right side. The right side is just stacked when it comes to perks. If I were to run Bloodlust, I would get rid of these two perks as well as Gravity, and then I would finish off the charge tree, grab Feed here, and then I would have enough for Bloodlust. So if I were to run Bloodlust, that's what I would do. That's what I normally do when I run Bloodlust. But right now, I am playing around Maul's Fury. I have been for like the past couple of days. I've been enjoying it again just because of these two perks here. But I do miss just having Bloodlust as well. And then, I didn't even talk about my abilities. For abilities, we are running Charge, Maelstrom, and Gravity Well for our axe. And for our hammer, we are running Wrecking Ball, Shockwave, and Path of Destiny. Okay, now getting into our gear, most of our gear is 2 perk, and that's it. Again, we don't have many BIS pieces at all right now, but again, I feel like my gear is at a point where it's like all I can do from here is just buy 1 extra perk on top of what I already have for an insane amount of gold, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start off with our helmet. So our helmet, we have Shrinking Fortification and Critical Retribution. Shrinking Fortification, dodge through an enemy attack, grants Fortify, increasing damage absorption by pretty much 4%, it's 3.9%. For 6 seconds, each piece with this perk increases the potency of this effect. Essentially, that basically means the more pieces of you have, as you iframe, the tankier you are, essentially. Alright, that's just basically what it is. So this is going to be a common perk you're going to see on our gear a lot. And then the next perk is Critical Retribution. This is a perk that you can only get on your helmet. You can't get this on any other piece. And on crit taken, gain 9.7% increased crit chance for 7 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So essentially what this means is like every clump fight pretty much that you initiate, you're gonna have this up, and you're basically gonna you're gonna be doing more crits, which obviously means you're gonna be dealing more damage. And then if you really want to think about it like that, your Great Axe, can heal you. You can heal off your Great Axe crits as well. So I guess you're gonna be getting a little bit more health. I don't think it's gonna be an insane amount or really noticeable, but if you want to look at it like that, you can. But ultimately you're just gaining more crits, right? There's no downside to it. I love having some extra crit. It's just a good perk to have, not bad at all. We're gonna talk about again what we would look for BIS on our gear once we're done talking about all of our pieces. But our chest piece, we're gonna have Shrinking Fortification, same thing as our helmet. And Resilient, if you are not running Resilient, you're wrong. Resilient is the first defensive perk. Not even just defensive perk, it's the first perk that everybody should be looking for, period. Doesn't matter if you're medium, heavy, light, range, melee, it does not make a difference. If you're playing PvP, you need to have Resilient. It is literally that simple. If you don't have Resilient, you will die incredibly fast, incredibly quickly. You need to have Resil. It is literally that simple. Get Resil. If you don't have it already, you're wrong. Okay, going down to our glove, Insatiable Gravity Well and Resil. We already talked about Resil. Insatiable Gravity Well is an essential perk for your bruisers. If you're a bruiser and you don't have Insatiable Gravity Well, you're wrong. It is that simple. You gain 34% damage of your Gravity Well back as health, so your Gravity Well deals more damage as well. It's an essential. If you don't have Insatiable Gravity Well, you're wrong. It is literally that simple. If you don't have it, get it if you're a bruiser. Okay, pants, Shrinking Fortification and Resil again, and boots, Shrinking Fortification and Resil again. Now we currently have 4 pieces of Shrinking Fort, very solid, very good, a very respectable amount, and then we have 4 pieces of Resil. I believe that 4 Resil is like the perfect amount of Resil, if I'm not mistaken. I believe when you get that 5th piece of Resil, you start having like a decline, not a decline, but like you're not gaining as much from that 5th piece of Resilient. It's not really as worth, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's true if I'm not mistaken. But 4 Resil is respectable. 4 Shrinking Fort is very respectable. Our gear right here is pretty fucking solid. Now when we start talking about BIS, okay, we start talking about BIS, we're literally talking about adding 1 perk on top of what we already have. So for example, this would be, for me at least, Okay, I would look for Shirking Fort, Resil, and Freedom. Right, that would be a best piece. Shirking Fort, Resil, Freedom. You know, and we would need at least 3 of those in order to see a difference. So we would need Shirking Fort, Resil, Freedom, Insatiable Gravity Well, Resil, Freedom, Shirking Fort, Resil, Freedom. You know, whatever. And then that would be where we would start seeing results, and we would see a change in our actual gameplay. You can also look for Refreshing. Now, I've actually considered this as well, kind of just stacking 5 Refreshing on top of what we already have, and just trying to get those CDs down as low as possible, because obviously we all know Grav or Bruisers just overall have like high CDs. So trying to get that down as much as possible, and if you have Refreshing flat, you would be able to you know, essentially be affecting the CDs for both your weapons, rather than just having like Refreshing Evasion where like it only affects the weapon that you have out at the time and shit like that. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I might go all Refreshing, but I also think Freedom is really good as well, especially with the new patch coming out, or new update, when they're adding the heart gems. You know, some of those have roots, and having Freedom might be clutch for that as well, so I'm trying to take that into consideration. So that is also something that I might be looking into. So I might end up going 5 Freedom, I might go 5 Refreshing, I might go 2 Refreshing, 3 Freedom. You know, who knows? That is probably the more likely option, to be honest. 3 Freedom, 2 Refreshing. Who knows, man? You know, to be determined. Okay, now let's go over our weapon. Now, we are running Refreshing Move and Thwarting Strikes. I need to give a huge shout out to my boy Heavy. Heavy is a viewer on the channel. And he actually hooked me up with this great axe, so I appreciate you, Heavy. Thank you so fucking much, man. If you're watching this, I appreciate you. I love you, man. Thank you, yo, so much for hooking me up. Before, I was running the broke version of this axe. It was Enchanted and Refreshing Move, and now obviously I have Thwarting Strikes and Refreshing Move, which is essentially the best 2 perk axe that you can have in the game. Abyss axe would be something like Refreshing Move, Thwarting Strikes, and like a damage perk, right? So like a shirking damage, so like Shirking Flame or Frost, or like an attunement, right? So like for Refreshing Move, Thwarting Strikes, and like Flame attunement, Frost attunement, or like even like an Insatiable Gravity Well on the axe, or something like that, right? That would be like Abyss axe. But this right here is like the ideal 2 perker. These are usually really expensive, so if you can find one and you can afford it, you should get it. If you don't have one, yeah, if you can't afford it or you can't find it, again, you can use an Enchanted and Refreshing Move. That's a good option. You can use like an attunement perk in Refreshing Move, which is a good option as well. Refreshing, I feel like, is probably for war at least, is probably the thing that you need the most. It helps build up your CDs more, and obviously we all know that wars kind of gravitate around Gravity Well. Gravity Well is like the main perk, or not perk, the main ability in wars for the most part. So being able to get as many Gravity Wells as possible is really useful for yourself and your team. So Refreshing Move for war is vital, and then you kind of look for other things as well. Again, ideally Thwarting Strikes, Refreshing Move is goated. If you can't get that, look for like an attunement perk, so like Flame attunement, Frost attunement, you know, whatever attunement would be really good, or like a shirking damage one, and Refreshing Move, whatever it may be. Okay, so keep your eyes out for that. But again, Refreshing Move is the one that you really need. And then going down to our hammer, we have Sundering, Shockwave, and Enchanted. Now, I kind of regret buying this hammer. I did buy this hammer, by the way. I do kind of regret buying this, because there is a hammer called, I believe, Commitment, if I'm not mistaken, that you can farm. And it has the exact same 2 perks, Enchanted, Sundering, Shockwave, and it has a 3rd perk. I think it's like Void something. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like a Void perk where it like bounces between other people. You can go out and farm that for free, but it has Constitution on the stat instead of Strength. That would actually trigger the shit out of me, to be honest. Maybe that's a small thing just for me, but just having that con there would just annoy the fuck out of me. But it is free. Obviously you can go farm that. So if you want to go out there and farm that hammer, you can. You can still use Blackguards. Blackguards is obviously pretty good still. But if you're going to use Blackguards Warhammer, like I was in the previous video, you need to make sure you're running Sundering Shockwave on your armor. You need to have Sundering Shockwave. It is an essential. Like I said before, Sundering Shockwave and Insatiable Gravity Well are the 2 essential perks that you need for a bruiser. So you need to have it. Right here, if you have it on your weapon, it is stronger than it is on your armor. So here it's 14% on my weapon. I believe if I had it on my gear, it would be like 9% or something like that. So you need ideally you want to have Sundering Shockwave on your armor. Obviously it's an AoE ability that stuns and applies run. So it's vital. It's very, very important. So if you can get that to be stronger, that's goated. So if you get that on your weapon, do it. If you can't, just get it on your armor. It is what it is. But try to get it on your weapon, okay? And then enchanted, I throw lights and heavies a lot, so having enchanted is good. Obviously, I would rather have thwarting here, but I mean, with that, you're looking at upwards of like 100+K just in that alone. So that's not really an option right now because your boy is broke, as you can see. But you know, it's a respectable hammer. Okay, now going down to our amulet, we are running the Champion's Amulet. You can get this from the PvP track. I also run this amulet here, which offers divine, slash protection, and health a lot. I do like to run this amulet as well. It's really fucking good. It's really solid. I love this amulet, and this is the amulet that I've been using for the most part. But I did get Champion's Amulet, and I do think Champion's Amulet is really good as well. And for me personally, it's kind of like I have to choose, right? Like in that war, do I want to deal more damage, right? And if I do, then I'll use, you know, Champion's Amulet. Do I want to, or do I want to have like more survivability, right? Like allow my healer to protect me more. And then obviously I would run this amulet because you gain divine, and essentially you gain 10% more healing from everything. So pots, healers, everything. Okay, and obviously slash protection is useful as well. And health is an essential. So I feel like the best option that you guys can actually easily get would be this amulet, Champion's Amulet, which you can get from the PvP track. If you could get an amulet like this with divine and health and like a really good third party like slash protection or some other kind of protection, that'd be really good as well. Kind of pick and choose which one you like. Right now I'm using Champion's Amulet, but one day I might use that and the next day I might use the other one. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of just how I'm feeling that day. Champion's Ring is the ring that we are currently running. This is a pretty best out ring, to be honest. It doesn't get much better than this for bruisers. You can also get this from the PvP track. You get Hardy, Keen Awareness, and Invigorated Punishment from this ring. Pretty solid, pretty respectable ring. Again, it doesn't really get much better than this. If you don't have this, you can also run Smooth Bone, which you could farm from Lazarus. Not a bad option as well. But I do think Champion Ring right now is probably overall better. But again, you can choose to run that as well. Oh, my bad. I didn't even go over the perks of Champion's Amulet. My bad. So, Champion's Amulet, you're going to get stamina recovery. So, when you are hit while below 50%, gain 98 stamina, has a 30-second cooldown. This is pretty huge for bruisers. Your stamina is your survivability. So, getting a lot of stamina back quickly is very useful. So, that's pretty huge. And then, shirking in power after successfully dodging an attack, obtaining power, increasing your damage dealt by 4% for 10 seconds. Essentially, as you iframe, you deal more damage, right? And if you partner this up with our gear, we're dealing more damage and we're tankier just by iframing. So it's pretty cracked. That's why I really like the Champion's Amulet. Again, if I feel like dealing more damage, like I said, I'll throw on this amulet. If I want to be kind of harder to kill, then I'll throw on the other one. I'll throw on this one here. So kind of just up to how I'm feeling that day, like I said before. And then with the Champion's Ring, like I said, Invigorated Punishment, Hardy, and Keen Awareness, great ring, simple as. And then Doom's Chance. Pretty much the best out earring right now for bruisers. You could farm this from Genesis. Very easy, very straightforward, very simple. And I hope that was useful to you guys. I mean, that's pretty much my gear. Oh, I didn't even go over my gems. Currently, we're running a 10-10 split on our gems, physical and elemental. So 10% physical damage resistance and 10% elemental damage resistance. Doesn't matter how you have your gems set up. As long as it is 10-10, you are good. And you have the same shit as me. I know a lot of bruisers kind of focus their gems more so in like a direct path, right, against a specific damage type. And if I run my other amulet, if I run this amulet, then I usually do that. Okay, so I run this amulet because I have so much slash protection. It's essentially like having like an extra 2 gems. I can stack more gems in the direction of like fire or, you know, whatever it may be, right? So if I run that protection amulet, then I would probably look to use different gems and kind of like focus more so in other directions to kind of add more worth. But anyway, I hope you guys did find this video useful. Hopefully the music is not too loud this time around. I'll check in with you guys in the comment section. We'll see how you guys, you know, are feeling it. But I hope this video was useful. I hope you guys did enjoy the build. Hopefully, you know, you guys are able to acquire some of these pieces, which I will be honest, a lot of them are expensive. And, you know, go out there and fry kids in OPR or in wars or in 3v3 arenas or whatever it may be. And I hope, you know, you find this build useful. If you don't want to use my build exactly, you know, feel free to, you know, find different variations of the build. Feel free to build your own build the way you want. This is just what I'm using personally, and this is what I think is really good for me and my playstyle. If you want to do your own thing, man, do your own thing, man. It's New World. It's an MMO, man. Have fun. Build your gear the way you want to. And people do, you know, things differently. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the build video. Thank you guys all so much for 700 subs, by the way. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend about me, about your boy Zaycer. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and listen to Zaycer Army today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And this has been your boy Zaycer. And I catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.